Hi everyone, I'm Law of the West, and this is going to be a quick buyer's guide for the Tumbril Storm. The Storm is described as being a light tank that's intended to sit somewhere between the Cyclone and the Nova when it comes to its weapons loadout, speed, and performance. It's armed with a twin-barrel size 3 gun that's energy-based, so it's not going to be dependent on ammunition like the Nova's Slayer cannon is, which means that the only restrictions that are going to be placed on the Storm's weapon are going to be based on the size of its capacitor and its power plant. Its treads were built so that the vehicle has a wider stance that has a center of gravity that's closer to the ground, which seems to give it a lot more stability while it's moving over uneven terrain. And the Storm's treads are divided up into 2 half tracks with 2 on each side. This is going to give it even more articulation and allow it to hug the ground even better than the Nova does. And it's going to be able to transition onto and off a ramp a lot more gracefully than the Nova can. And having treads means that the Storm is also going to have a 0 turning radius. So, who would the Storm appeal to? Well, it's a big anime tank. It's designed to be fast, well armored, and is supposed to be able to move over uneven terrain a lot better than most other large vehicles can. It's designed for drivers who like having the protection of a tank but also don't have a crew of people to run with, so it's going to be an ideal choice for solo players. There are a few red flags when it comes to this vehicle, and one of them is that it's armed with a single size 3 gun and nothing else. So I'm interested in hearing more about what their decision-making process was for this. This weapon is also going to be bespoke, so you're not going to be able to remove it or replace it with another type of size 3 gun. And they've also said that the Storm is fast, but we really don't know how fast it is, only that its speed is going to range somewhere between a Cyclone and the Nova. Another thing is that the Storm has a storage locker and keeps some of its components stored in the blisters that cover its treads. And that kind of worries me, because it looks like its half tracks can be individually destroyed. So I'm kind of curious how they're going to handle all the edge cases that are involved with setting things up this way. And so far we're unsure as to what kinds of vehicles other than the Hercules can be used to carry a Storm. A lot of people have already used its dimensions, and the hollow model is a guide to go by to see what else it could also fit into. And although it's unconfirmed, the Storm could be able to fit into the 890, the Carrack, the Phoenix, possibly the Corsair, the Crucible, the Idris, the Kraken, the Privateer, the Liberator, the Merchantman, the Odyssey, the Polaris, the reworked version of the 600i, and the Valkyrie. But I'd still like to hear something official from CIG as to whether or not they intend to make the Storm compatible with any of these other ships. And the other thing is that I've already spotted a discrepancy between what its components loadout is on the ship matrix and what it says that it has on its specification sheet. So it'll be nice to know what the final say is on that. These are all legitimate concerns, and if any of these things are deal breakers for you, then I'd wait until after the Q&A about the Storm is published before making a decision. It should be coming out within the next week or so you shouldn't have to wait for very long, and I'll be putting out a follow-up video on the Storm after they post it. I've been your host, Law of the West. Thanks for watching, and take care.